Hello, my friend. It's good to spend a few quiet moments together thinking about something from the Bible that has puzzled many people over the years. Today we're going to talk about a phrase written by the Apostle Paul that has caused a lot of sincere Christians to pause and wonder what he really meant. You may have heard it before. Paul wrote that we should work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. At first glance, those words can sound a little unsettling. Does Paul mean we have to earn our salvation? Does he mean we should live in constant fear that we might lose it? Or is he talking about something deeper, something more personal, something that touches the way we live every single day? That's what we're going to explore together today. And I think you'll find that Paul's words are actually not frightening at all. In fact, they are deeply encouraging. They remind us that our relationship with God is alive. It's growing. And it matters more than anything else in this world. But before we begin, let me say this. Welcome from all of us at He is Risen Ministries. Your support by subscribing and giving a thumbs up helps us keep creating videos that inspire and equip those seeking a deeper walk with the Lord. Thank you for being here today. Now let's look at the words Paul wrote. In the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 12, Paul said, "Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." Those words were written in a letter to believers in the city of Philippi. These were people who already believed in Christ. Paul was not speaking to unbelievers trying to earn salvation. He was speaking to followers of Jesus who already trusted him. That's very important to understand, because Paul was not saying, work to get your salvation. He was saying something different. He was saying, work out the salvation you already have. Think about the difference between those two ideas. One is earning. The other is living out something that already belongs to you. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine a man who inherits a beautiful old house from his grandfather. The house already belongs to him. He didn't build it. He didn't buy it. It was given to him, but the house has been sitting empty for years. Dust has gathered, the yard needs attention, the rooms need cleaning and care. Now the new owner begins to work on the house. He repairs things, he opens windows, he lets the light in, he restores what had been neglected. He's not working to earn the house. The house is already his. He's simply bringing it to life. He's working it out. That is a lot like what Paul meant. Salvation is a gift from God. It cannot be purchased. It cannot be earned. It cannot be deserved. The Bible makes that very clear. God's grace is what saves us. But once that gift has been given, something beautiful begins to happen. Our lives start to change, slowly, sometimes quietly, sometimes in ways we don't even notice at first. God begins shaping our hearts. He begins forming our character, and we begin learning how to live the life that salvation has opened for us. That is what Paul meant by working out our salvation. He was talking about living it, growing in it, allowing it to shape our everyday decisions. Now let's talk about the phrase that often confuses people the most, fear and trembling. Those words sound intense. But Paul was not talking about being terrified of God. He was talking about something closer to deep respect, reverence, a sense of awe. Think about the way a person might feel when standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon for the first time. You look out over that vast space, the colors, the depth, the silence, and for a moment you feel small, not in a bad way, just aware that you are standing before something greater than yourself. That kind of feeling is close to what the Bible means by reverence. It's the awareness that God is holy, that His ways are higher than ours, that the life He has given us is something sacred. Another way to think about it is the way a surgeon approaches an operation. A surgeon does not walk into the operating room casually. He knows that a human life is in his hands. He prepares carefully. He focuses. He approaches his work with seriousness, not panic, not terror, but deep responsibility. That is similar to the attitude Paul is describing. Our lives matter, our choices matter, and the salvation God has given us is something precious. Paul wanted believers to take that seriously, not with anxiety, but with reverence. Let's bring this even closer to everyday life. Think about a musician learning to play a beautiful instrument. Imagine someone receiving a priceless violin. It was crafted by a master. It produces incredible music, but the new owner must learn how to play it. At first, the sounds may be rough. The notes may wobble. But over time, practice brings improvement. The musician begins discovering what the instrument can truly do. The music was always there inside the violin. It just needed to be brought out. That's another picture of what Paul meant. Salvation places something new inside us, a new heart, a new direction, a new relationship with God. But learning to live that life takes time. It's a journey, and every step of that journey matters. Paul actually explains this further in the very next verse. In Philippians chapter 2, verse 13, he says something wonderful. For it is God who works in you both to will and to do for his good pleasure. In other words, we are not alone in this process. God himself is working inside us. He shapes our desires. He strengthens our choices. He gently guides us forward. So the Christian life is not about striving alone. It's about cooperating with what God is already doing inside us. Think of it like a gardener tending a small plant. The life inside the seed comes from God, but the gardener waters it, protects it, gives it sunlight. Little by little, the plant grows. Working out our salvation is like tending that garden. We nurture what God has planted in us. Now let's talk about what this looks like in daily life, because this teaching becomes very practical. Imagine a moment when someone speaks harshly to you. Your first reaction might be anger, maybe even the urge to say something sharp in return, but then something inside you pauses. A quiet voice reminds you to respond differently, to show patience, to show grace. That moment right there is part of working out your salvation. You are allowing the new life inside you to guide your response. Or imagine a situation where honesty might cost you something, perhaps at work or in business. You know that telling the truth may not benefit you immediately, but your heart tells you it is the right thing to do. Choosing integrity in that moment is another way salvation works its way into your life. It's not about dramatic gestures, it's about everyday faithfulness, small choices, quiet moments, and those small moments slowly shape who we become. Sometimes people worry that they are not growing fast enough in their faith, but spiritual growth often happens quietly. Think about how a tree grows. You don't see it stretching upward every minute of the day, yet year after year it becomes stronger, taller, more deeply rooted. The same is true in the life of faith. God works patiently, gently, over time. Another helpful way to think about this is the way a child learns to walk. At first there are wobbly steps, then a fall, then another attempt. No loving parent scolds the child for falling. Instead, the parent encourages, helps them up, smiles with pride when the next step comes. That is very much how God works with us. He is patient. He is kind. And He delights in every step forward we take. Working out our salvation does not mean we will never stumble. It means we keep moving forward, trusting God, learning, growing. Let's also remember something important. The Christian life was never meant to be lived alone. Paul wrote these words to a community of believers, friends encouraging each other, praying for one another, walking together. Faith grows stronger in community. Sometimes another believer may remind us of truth when we feel discouraged. Other times we may be the one offering encouragement. That's part of how salvation is worked out in real life, through relationships, through kindness, through shared faith. Now let's return again to that phrase, fear and trembling. When we understand it correctly, it becomes something beautiful. It means recognizing that our lives are connected to something eternal. It means understanding that the God who created the universe has invited us into His family. That truth should never feel ordinary. It should fill us with gratitude, and yes, a little awe, the kind of awe that makes us want to live carefully, lovingly, faithfully, not because we are afraid of losing God, but because we treasure the relationship He has given us. It's a bit like caring for something deeply valuable. If someone gave you a priceless heirloom from your family, you would treat it carefully, not out of fear, but out of respect for its value. Salvation is far more valuable than any treasure on earth, and Paul wanted believers to remember that. Now let me share one final thought that brings all of this together. Working out our salvation is really about allowing Christ to shape our lives more and more each day. It's about learning to love the things He loves, to care about what He cares about, to become people who reflect His character, and that process lasts a lifetime. Even the Apostle Paul himself described his journey as ongoing. He spoke about pressing forward, continuing the race, growing day by day. If Paul saw his life as a journey of growth, then we can certainly give ourselves permission to grow step by step as well. So today, if you ever hear someone quote Paul's words about working out your salvation with fear and trembling, remember what they really mean. They are not words of anxiety. They are words of responsibility, words of reverence, words that remind us that the life God has given us is something worth living fully, worth nurturing, worth protecting, and worth sharing with the world around us, because the way we live may quietly point others toward hope, toward grace, toward the God who loves them. So walk forward today with confidence. Take the next faithful step. Trust that God is already working within you, guiding, strengthening, shaping your life into something beautiful. And remember that every act of kindness, every honest choice, every moment of patience is part of that journey, a journey that began the moment you trusted Him, and a journey that continues every day that follows. Got a question you'd like us to explore in a future video? Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. For now, rest in the knowledge that the one who loved you first has already prepared a place for you in His eternal family, and may His voice ring clearly and powerfully this very day.